Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is my second Star Wars movie review. This is about Attack of the Clones, that's the epic battle there. And on the front cover here we have Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, Phantom Menace was a bad movie. A few moments that were good, but mostly very gawky and awkward. Well, Attack of the Clones was worse, if that's even possible. Yes, this is even more ridiculous and even less believable. Yes, George Lucas had really outdone himself with this one. This was a really terrible movie, yes. It was so bad, in fact, that when I saw it in the cinema, 5 people walked out of the film. So it was a walkout movie, yes. They walked out when it was less than halfway through. So that's how awful we're talking here, yeah. And it's such a shame because this was the year 2002, the 25th anniversary of Star Wars. So yes, this had a lot of pressure on it to be really good, yeah. But Attack of the Clones was very awkward, just in different ways, yes. I mean, Jar Jar Binks was annoying, but Anakin Skywalker, the character, is now about 18 years old, and he's like a spoiled little brat, you know. If he doesn't get his way, he has a bit of a temper tantrum, you know. It's awful, yeah. Yes, he's very annoying, yeah. Now, Jar Jar Binks, evidently not very popular in the first film, so, although he was supposed to be a lead character in all 3 of the prequel films, no, George Lucas realised that if Jar Jar Binks is going to be here to be less annoying, he has a much smaller part. Yeah, that's good that he has a much smaller part. But the thing is, he's a representative of a politician, Senator Amidala. And he does this really important political meeting, makes really serious political decisions. He doesn't have the qualifications. He doesn't know what he's doing. Why has he got a position like that? Well, it's who you know, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, and some trivia here. Senator Amidala, played by Natalie Portman, her body double, her bodyguard to look like her, to get the assassins off guard, was played by Keira Knightley, yes, in Episode 1 and in this one, Episode 2, and she went on to be famous in the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Anyway, but Attack of the Clones, like the Phantom Menace, it is mostly awful, but it does have some moments, some good bits. The car chase, or speeder chase through Coruscant, that's really cool, yeah, well done. The epic battle of the clones, yeah, the clones against the battle droids, yes, that's really well done, yeah. And we see all the clones grown in the factory, yeah. And, oh yes, and a bit of Jango Fett there. Jango Fett, he's the father of Boba Fett, yeah. That was really cool, because you see, Boba Fett is a great bounty hunter, but he's got all these gadgets and gizmos on his armour, but we don't see hardly any of them in action. We don't see any of them in action at all in Empire Strikes Back. In Return of the Jedi, we see that string thing that fires out, and his rocket pack, but that's about it. In this one, we see all of his gadgets in working order. That's really cool, including the rocket that fires out of his backpack. Yeah. So yes, that made up for that. We see the spaceship, Slave One, yeah. And he's called Jango. I thought that was a totally original name that George Lucas made up. Then I saw this film in badly dubbed English from the 1960s, where there's yes, a cowboy called Django. Yes, so okay, yeah. So what's so awful about Attack of the Clones? Well, I think for me the main problem is Anakin Skywalker. Obviously, he has to get it on with Amidala because then they're the mother and father of Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. But the problem is the way he seduces her. Just about the most cringe-worthy chat-up lines I've ever heard in my life. He just pressurises her, tries to make her feel guilty if she doesn't fancy him. But the problem is, they haven't seen each other since he was about 8, you know. You haven't seen me in 10 whole years. Could you please fall madly in love with me? No, you can't do that. That's asking for much too much. It's very presumptuous, you know, yeah. And apparently, a new twist, yes, in Phantom Menace we have new twists that were not in the original. Apparently, Jedi are not allowed to fall in love. Why are Jedi not allowed to fall in love? They never said that in the original trilogy, but apparently not. No, they can't fall in love. So it's forbidden love. You know, Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala are risking ruining their careers. It's all worth taking the risk because they're so madly in love. Is Anakin worth taking such a risk for? He's such a creepy guy with his creepy staring eyes and everything. He's not worth taking the risk for, is he? Oh dear. And oh yes, the Attack of the Clones. I assumed it was called that because we see a battle at the beginning or halfway through the film. No, we don't see a battle until the very end of the film. It's called Star Wars, but we're not really seeing a lot of war, are we? You know, in the first film they talk about the possibility of a full galactic war, and then there's a small battle at the end of the film. In this one, they talk about a possibility of a full-scale war, but we don't know, just a small battle at the end of the film. It's Star Wars, but we still haven't seen a full-scale war, which is rather silly. Also, of course, a great Jedi battle against the battle droids on the planet Geonosis. What I didn't like was that the Jedi, when a Jedi dies, they don't disappear. Or the Jedi, they don't disappear when they die. Well, I thought a Jedi had to disappear when he dies. Well, apparently, I had to read this in a Star Wars magazine, if you know you're going to die, and you're a Jedi, then you disappear. But if you don't know it's going to happen, you just die like an ordinary human. And I was like, well, that's rubbish. That's stupid. That demystifies them, you know. They're not very supernatural if they don't disappear when they die. So no, I didn't like that. I thought Jedi in general should disappear when they die, yeah. And the planet Tatooine. We've seen Tatooine in Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, and then we see it again in Attack of the Clones. The same planet again. The story would have worked just as well if it was a different planet. So yes, that's annoying. Can we please vary the kind of planets we see? You know, get out more, yeah. And when Anakin Skywalker is very angry, the Sand People have killed his mother. That's understandable, yes. And but he doesn't kill the Sand People that killed her. He kills the entire tribe, about 50 of them. Well, that's not proportionate to what they've done wrong. No, that's, you know. And when he tells Padme, I killed all of them, all the Sand People, the men, the women, the children, all of them. They're animals, and I slaughter them like animals. I hate them. He's talking like a nutcase, like a raving lunatic, you know. Now, it's no surprise then that he turned into a bad man, is it? That he turned into Darth Vader? yeah. I mean, so it's meant to be a big shock that this good man turns into a baddie. But I wouldn't be shocked at all that a nutcase like that turned into a baddie, you know, yeah. And Yoda, he fights Count Dooku with a lightsaber battle. Oh, and the energy bolts come out of his hands. That was really cool. The problem was, why does he need a walking stick? If he's athletic enough to leap up in the air and fight like that, why does he need a walking stick? That's really silly, that, yeah. Does a walking stick just look cool, or does he generally... No, that's inconsistent. If he's athletic enough, he shouldn't need the use of a cane, no. And, oh yes, we have Darth Sidious, Darth Tyrannus, and I assume Darth is short for Dark Lord of the Sith. That's why they're called Darth. And I never knew that Darth Sidious and Palpatine were one and the same. I didn't figure it out. Somebody told me that. I thought Darth Sidious would be a separate Sith Lord and then Palpatine would replace him. But no, that's not the case, no. So in other words, yes, it was interesting how the clone troopers came into being and how they eventually went on to replace stormtroopers and all that. But again, like Phantom Menace, too much focus on special effects, not enough focus on the storytelling. So Attack of the Clones had potential, but could have been tidied up a lot better, yeah. And yes, when Anakin Skywalker falls in love with Padme, that could have been done a lot better, yeah. And, oh yes, and when he has his arm chopped off, well, that's just too similar to Empire Strikes Back. That's the same thing that happened there, yeah. I didn't like that in prequel films when the same thing happened that happened in the original. Yeah, the story would have worked just as well if something different had happened, yeah. So yes, Attack of the Clones needed loads of tidying up. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.